Let's talk about books, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things we're reading.
That was actually really good.
Thank you.
We need to write a song. I mean, you just did. We need to record a song.
We are recording.
Oh my God, we need to release a song.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, copyright and whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome back to Between Pages and Friends. I'm Con.
And I'm Lauren. We are long distance best friends who started a Bookstagram, Book Talk, and now this lovely BookTube page together. Today we are chatting about our November reads. But first, if you are reading the Throne of Glass series for the first time or the 100th time, you should check out our book club podcast that we have here on YouTube. We release a new episode every Wednesday featuring a pronunciation guide, chapter recaps, thoughts and theories from first time readers, a cry counter because you know there's so many tears happening in this book, and generally just unhinged book club discussions with us.
And if you already listened to that podcast and you love it and you want early ad-free access to our weekly episodes, plus an amazing community and a ton of other perks that come with it, join our Patreon. You'll receive access to our Discord community, merch discounts, our monthly book club, live events, and so much more. You can also visit our website, betweenpagesandfriends.com, for all of our super cute merch. We just dropped a bunch of new stuff and we're super excited about it. You'll also find our links page there that has all of our resources and content links.
Lastly, we are so excited that all of us here at Between Pages and Friends will be attending Enchanticon 2025 as event influencers. We are so excited for this event. And we talk about it all the time, and I just cannot wait. It is being hosted in St. Louis, Missouri next August, so you should totally come and hang out with us. You can get your tickets at enchanticon.com, and please make sure to use our code FRIENDS15 so that you can get 15% off of your Enchanticon tickets.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to Enchanticon.
Oh, the shoulders. Oh, it's like it's a little
like
micro
a whole back
shimmy.
and forth. I told you this corner of my house is really cold. So I'm like over here like shivering. I'm shivering. I tried. It didn't land. It's fine. Okay.
All right, let's get into our November reads. This month, Lauren read 5 books and I read 3. Womp womp.
Don't laugh. That's still good.
It's a perfectly respectable number of books to read. I had very high hopes for my November TBR, and I love the books that I read. So let's talk about those.
Yes.
Starting with our current podcast book, which is Kingdom of Ash. We're still working our way through it, but in December, we will be done with Kingdom of Ash.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. I feel like we just started the series, and also like we've been reading it for 800 years somehow.
Yes. Yeah, when I look back on it, it's like we just started, but then I'll like scroll through all the podcast episodes or something and realize like, oh my God, we've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. I think it will be 7 months
By the time we
it's all done.
finish. Yeah.
That's a lot of months.
Yes, for one series, but it's been so much fun.
I've loved it so much.
Me too.
It's like, and such a fun way to read it for the first time too, for me.
That's good. I'm glad the podcast didn't like ruin it for you.
No, I don't think it did. I think there were some times that it felt like homework at certain times, like when a week was really busy, you know, and I'm just like, oh, but I gotta read, you know. And then there's other times that it's like, I want to read so much, but I have to stop, you know, like, so those parts of it were a little frustrating at times, but actually getting to like chat about it as I was going along, it wasn't like I finished it and then I'm like, wait, where are you in the book? And like, you know, it's like we knew exactly what was happening for whatever episode it was. Just getting to say all my random unhinged theories and thoughts, and doing it with my husband too was really fun. And then of course with you, I don't know, it was just great. It was a good time.
Yeah, it is great. It's a lot of fun.
Let's do another book series.
Okay.
Let's do another one.
On a whim.
I can't wait. Yeah, we weren't planning that for forever. Hey, let's be honest. Doing the podcast in general was on a whim.
That is so incredibly true.
Literally like day one of this book, like Instagram. We started Instagram. But we are doing a podcast. We're never doing a podcast.
I was in denial about it, I think, longer than anyone else.
I think if you go back to our first monthly reads video, I think it was February or March. And we joke but this isn't a podcast. Blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. And then it's like 2 months later, we are having
This is our not podcast. And now we have over 50 hours of published content available for you on our podcast.
If you wanted a podcast, you got a podcast.
You got it. We really did it. We said we were going to do it, and we really did it a lot.
Yeah, we
so yes, so it is over there. It's on our YouTube page. It's also everywhere else that you listen to podcasts. And we talk a lot about Kingdom of Ash over there. It'll be 8 weeks of talking about Kingdom of Ash.
Yes, and cry a lot.
And yes, go check that out.
The last episode comes out Christmas Day. So
yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah. We'll be starting our next series. We are continuing the podcast. We'll be starting a new series in January, and that is yet to be announced, but will be announced very, very soon. So make sure you're following us on. Say it. Make sure you're following us on social media, because that will be the first place you'll hear about it.
Okay, the first book that I actually completed this month was Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood.
Yay!
This is one that you read last month and talked about it. And I was just so intrigued that it was an audio first book. I was like, what? That's a thing, like whatever. So immediately, literally the next day, got this book. It's a really short one, so I finished it pretty quickly. My only complaint is that I wish it was longer, only because I just loved it so much, and it's kind of like a work retreat happens. And so they get back from the work retreat and I'm like, oh, then let's go home together and see what happens next. Nope, that's the end of the book because the work retreat was over. And I was like, dang it.
It's only like 6 hours. It's like a little half. Yeah. It is really cute,
but it was so good. I gave it 5 stars. I loved every second. So good book. Highly recommend. I
love that one too. Yeah. It is a good one. And it's a good quick read. We've been talking about those more, like if you're trying to hit your reading goal before the end of the year, that's a good, like, easy one to kind of breeze through. And it is really good.
And the cover is so cute.
I know, right?
Cover is adorable.
I love it.
They're like video game designers and it looks all like pixely and stuff. Ugh.
It's so cute. 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Technically my first book chronologically of this month was our book club book. Usually I'm the last person to read that. This month I think the first person to read it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that at the end. We always talk about our Patreon book club at the end. But my next read for the month was All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. Super sweet story with incredibly lovable characters and Tobias Rhodes. A weird name for the main male character, but I loved him so much. His name's Tobias. They just call him Rhodes.
I had a crush on a boy named Tobias in high school.
Did you?
So, yeah. That was a thing for like a
you
hot
get
minute.
it then.
Yeah. I mean, for that guy, I guess.
Shout out to Tobias, wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
Yes, I gave this 4 stars. I really, really loved the story. I loved all of the characters. I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for like an easy read or listen. It's got a good slow burn. It also has a really cool female main character, which I feel like is something I don't come across a whole lot in just like a straightforward romance. I really loved her. Her name's Aurora, and she just was really cool. She's like, I don't want to say fierce because she's not like all up in your face or anything, but like really resilient, but she's also very tenderhearted and she like really cares about all the people around her and stuff. She just was really cool. And she had a lot of like unique qualities. And I liked the dialogue in the book a lot. My only real qualm with this one is that Rhodes insisted on calling her Buddy as like a pet name.
What?
As like a term of endearment.
No.
So he actually had 2. He called her Angel, which was like kind of cute. Normally I would feel like that's cringy, but it was kind of cute the way that it was written because she kept thinking that he was messing up her name because her name's Aurora. And so he kept like calling her Angel and she was like, does he really not know my name yet? But like that was almost kind of cute. But then he started calling her Buddy too. But my problem with that was that he also had a 12-year-old son. Like he's an older main character. And so he has a son. And I'm like,
Buddy?
Isn't that, no, he doesn't call his son Buddy. He only calls Aurora Buddy. But I'm like, isn't that what you would call your son? That feels like something you would call your kid and not your potential love interest. And then he explains in the book at one point that he calls her that because she reminds him of Buddy the elf, which then made it worse.
That's what I was just about to say. We just watched Elf the other day. So that's all I'm thinking about. That is a lot worse.
It was, yeah. So that I couldn't really get on board with. The rest of it was great. I will say it's pretty long. I know.
It's funnier the more you think about it.
And the longer the book went on, I just kind of had to tune it out. I was like, okay, we're just going to ignore that because I was vibing with the rest of it. Like it really was a great book. Overall, it is pretty long for like a straightforward romance novel because typically a romance is like, I was listening to the audiobook. Typically a romance is like 11 hours or maybe 12. And I think this one was like 16 or 18.
Wow. Yeah, that is a long one.
Yeah, it was just super easy to listen to. And I just really love the character so much. I didn't really mind that it was long. But anyway, yes, that was 4 stars for me. I read it because I saw Heather McClary recommend it a bunch and like a ton of people were reading it because of her and I had FOMO. And so I read it and it was very cute. I would recommend it.
It's like how you read any book is because you have FOMO.
Yes.
So we had book club last night for our Petering book club and stuff. And somebody, like we were talking about the cute nickname from the Ex Vows. And someone in the comments wrote, better than Buddy. And I was like, okay, that's a random comment. And you were talking about something and missed the comment. And so I was just like, okay, I don't know what that means. So we're just going to move on. But now I get it. Now I wish I could go back and laugh about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It is better than Buddy.
It was a lot better than Buddy. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. When I think of Buddy, I think of like, listen here, buddy. You know, like.
I just kept thinking of like talking to a kid. Like, hey, buddy. I don't know.
I say bud. I don't think I say buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, especially calling it Buddy the Elf. That's a lot worse.
I know. Like, why would you tell her that if that was the reason? He's like, I thought it was obvious. Like, to who?
Eating gum off the side of the street and yelling at random people in the stores and wearing yellow tights everywhere. Or like, what's the...
Putting syrup on everything. I don't know.
Yeah. Drinking a whole 2-liter at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, what was your next read?
Moving on. I read Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren.
I want to read that
This
one.
book has been on my TBR for literally forever. Since the moment that I saw the cover, I was like, I'm reading that book. That looks freaking adorable. I just love Rapunzel. She is one of my all-time favorites. And then you put like Christina Lauren with that. That is already a 5 stars. Like I read it and I still gave it 5 stars. I did. But regardless, I probably would have just because of those two things. I just love it. So it is a modern retelling of Rapunzel. And it was just so well done that I forgot it was Rapunzel at certain points. Like I was so invested in the world that they had created for this girl and like her life that I forgot. Like I was surprised at the end when something happened and I was like, oh, the mother shows up. What? You know, and I was like, I can't believe it. And it still got me. It was so good.
That's amazing.
The female main character's name is Ren, R-E-N, which
cute.
is, I think, adorable because we're reading Kingdom of Ash right now and there's Ren in Kingdom of Ash and he's a guy. And so I was like, oh my God, this is so cute as like a girl's name. And I just like have really grown to love the name Ren. And I think that's why in Kingdom of Ash, I keep being like, I don't know what it is about Ren these days, but I just really love him. And I really think it's because of this book.
You just say that the other night.
I know. I know. I just think like I've connected to this name because I love this book so much. And it was just really cute. And the boy, like the main male character was just like everything you would want from like a Flynn Rider character and stuff. And it was just, I don't know. Everything was so good. But it was also because it's like modern retelling. So she was kidnapped and there's like an Amber Alert out for her. And like there's technology involved that they're like trying to hide her from, you know, like all the things that go into it. And so it's like she's lived this like super sheltered homeschool life on a farm and like never gets to leave the farm because she always has 100 chores to do and all this stuff. But she really wants to go to college. They can't keep her at home or like whatever it is. And so they ended up convincing her not to go to college till she was 22. But she hits 22. Whoa. She finally gets to go. And now she's at college and she like, anyways, she has to take like a ancestry test for like a biology class. And that's how she finds out that they're not her real parents or something. And so then it's like, yeah. But it's like weird because it's all technology involved and like, I don't know. It's a modern day world. And it was just so good. I just loved it so much.
Interesting. So, oh, cute. Yeah.
But I did find out this is the 4th one in the series of modern Disney retellings, but they're all by different authors. So I didn't realize that because I'm in the know of like Christina Lauren books and I have not heard of these other authors for the first 3, but they are on my TBR now. I don't know if I'll ever
Cute.
randomly get to them, but it was really well done. I really loved it. So 5 stars. Highly recommend. Super cute.
Ugh, now that's moving up on my TBR. You know how
I know,
chaotic
and
that
it was
is.
so good. I know.
My next book, I feel like I could just keep talking about, and I'm so excited to tell you about it.
I know. You love it so much. I can't wait.
I do. And I feel like we haven't even really talked about it yet, but I also don't want to like give anything away because I'm excited for you to maybe read it eventually.
I know. Whenever I saw it like on the list and I was like, oh, good. I can finally hear about this book because you haven't talked to me about it because of spoilers. So
yeah,
I am excited to hear your opinions and stuff or whatever in your non-spoilery way of which we say these things to a certain extent. But I don't know. This will decide if it's jumping up on my TBR. So no pressure.
I will say it's while you're reading Kingdom of Ash for the first time, this is probably not a good book to read alongside of that because I'm going to say what the book is now because I haven't said that yet. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Sorry to keep you all in suspense. The book that we're talking about is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. This was 5 stars for me. Holy crap, I loved this book. I read it in like a few days because I was trying to finish it quickly for the Fantasy Fangirls book club. And I'm so glad that I did and got to like hear the whole discussion about it over there because that just like made me love it even more. And I dove right into the second book, and that's what I'm reading right now. That's my current read, is the second book in the series. So this is a trilogy. It's called the War of Lost Hearts series. So I finished book 1. I've seen people describe it as having like a Throne of Glass vibe, or kind of comparing it to Throne of Glass, which like I don't really think is a fair comparison, but I think people were saying that the female main character reminded them a little bit of Aelin. For me, though, I feel like at least at this point in the series, it seems way more to me like if Lysandra got her own series. Like that's kind of what the starting point felt more like. But it's also kind of mixed with like One Dark Window. And I don't know. It's like, it's so cool. But it's my favorite thing about it is that it's not really like anything that I've read before. So it's hard to really draw a direct comparison to something because it's not like, oh, it's just like this with a twist. It's like, I don't know. It's all kinds of different things kind of rolled into one. And I have no idea where the series is going. So I'm really excited to keep reading it. All I know for sure is that it is like, it's totally my jam and I can't stop thinking about it. So like, let me take a breath and then I'll continue.
You are so excited about this book.
I am so excited. The first book didn't make me cry, but I almost am a little surprised by that. Maybe I think it was probably more because I was speeding through the first book, but it is like, it really takes you through like a whole wide range of emotions because I was mostly listening to it on audio. And there were some parts that I was like laughing out loud. I was like squealing over the 2 main characters and I'm giggling. And then there's other scenes that are just completely heart shattering. They're like just devastating. But more than all of that, I am still so invested in how Carissa Broadbent explores magic in these books because that's like the most surprising thing to me in the series. I keep finding myself like listening to the audiobook and I'm just hearing the events play out, but I keep stopping and I'm like, how did she think of this? Like, it just... Like, where did she come out? Like, it's just crazy. Like, there's so much, there's been several times that I'm just like so mind blown by how the characters' powers work together or just like the implications of maybe a power I've seen before played out in another book, but the way that she takes it like steps further into like different applications of what that power could do. It's just, it's really cool. And there's even just, like I said, some of the events of the book, it doesn't feel like I could make a direct comparison to anything I've read before. It just feels really different. And so I really love that. So anyway, I'm in book 2 right now. I highly recommend this. Just, there are some like fairly dark or emotionally heavy scenes woven throughout it as well. But I think it's done really well. But I just wouldn't recommend it if you're currently reading Kingdom of Ash for the first time. Maybe give it some time before you go into it. 5 stars.
Well, I want
though.
to just because I want to talk about it with you. Maybe it's a future book club read.
Yeah. Now I want to read her other series too, because she also wrote The Serpent and the Wings of Night. That's also the same author.
Yes, I've been wanting to read that one for forever because that's vampires, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the one that she just had a new
vampires.
book come out in that series last month. So now I just want to read all of her books.
I just love vampires. That's the only reason I wanted to read it.
Yes. This one does not have vampires, but it is really cool. And I think this was her first series. So I'm sure The Serpent and the Wings of Night is even better.
My love for vampires is just my weird high school Twilight girly coming out. Anytime the word vampire comes, I'm like, oh, Vampires. It's fine.
Vampires? Okay, I'll read it.
I'm in. Okay. My next 2 books are actually in a series, and I'm currently reading the 3rd book. So I just like went 1, 2, 3 with this one out of nowhere. But I have never read any Elle Kennedy before. I know she has like a bajillion and 1 books out there, but anytime you go to the store and there's just like a certain covers that like have always just been like, oh, I really want to read that one. It looks so cute. And so this was the series for me. And so this was Good Girl Complex. Was the first one. It's part of the Avalon Bay series. And this first book reminded me a lot of Outer Banks season 1, which boo you for never seeing Outer Banks and not knowing what I'm talking about right now. This is a major
so sorry.
Thumbs down. Go watch my show, please. But for those who do know what I'm talking about with Outer Banks season 1,
rude.
Hey, it's not my fault. I've asked you to watch the show before, Connor.
Oh, hey, I did finally finish Nobody Wants This. Just quick update.
Oh, wasn't it so cute?
It's so cute. Like literally yesterday. It took me like 3 months to watch it, but it was so cute.
And they have a podcast. They're like, they're basically us.
Basically.
Just because of the podcast part. None of the rest of it. Anyways. Okay, back to my book. Good Girl Complex.
Yes.
Outer Banks season 1, in the sense that it is like a ocean town, like beach town where there's like the townies, and they have like a little nickname for the people who like live in the town all the time. And then there's a bunch of people who've come from out of town regularly, and they're really rich, and they have like a nickname, and it's kind of like rich people versus the townies and whatever. And they kind of like, oh, so you're one of these people, and say their little mean nickname kind of a thing back and forth. But in this town, it is that there is a college that like a private, like a big fancy private school college. And so it's like all the rich kids go there in the fall. And so it's like starts at the, summer just ended. And so all the rich kids come back to go to school. It's, tatted up, towny guy, super rich girl who's dating like this super jerk of a other rich guy who's totally cheating on her, but she doesn't know that.
Is he blonde?
I think he is.
He's got to be.
I know. Anyways, so that whole thing, but it definitely had like certain, I don't want to like spoil things. So there was like a couple things that I just like, I don't like that trope when that happens.
Oh, okay.
It's just not my favorite. I just loved their banter and their romance and all the things that was so cute. But at the end, there is a 3rd act breakup, and we're like really close to the end. And I was like, I know this is a series, so they're just going to have to resolve this in the next book, because that's what it's going to make sense.
Sure.
Like, it's like setting it up that the next book will like resolve their issues or whatever. But no, they resolved literally everything in like a 2-sentence conversation, like one of those where they're like, okay, I forgive you for literally lying to me this whole book, kind of a thing. And I'm like, no, girl, no. But okay. So I probably would have given it 5 stars. Like, I was vibing. I loved them and their characters and all the things, but I just couldn't get past the ending. I just couldn't. So I gave it 4 stars because of the ending.
All right.
But it was still reason enough for me to pick up the next book, which is called Bad Girl Reputation, also by Elle Kennedy, Avalon Bay 2. I literally finished this book today because I was like, I have an hour and a half left and we record the readings tonight and I gotta know so I can add it to my November reads. So literally finished it today. I think I liked this one even more than the first one, which doesn't normally happen in a series.
Yeah.
But book 1 is about one twin brother and book 2 is about the other twin brother. Oh. And while they are... My bad. So while they are twin brothers, they're the main male characters, but like the focus is more on the girls. Okay. So like as much as like they're related and it's like happening at their house and like all the things that happen there, I would say like the main growth and person who's going through things is the girl in that scenario. It is 2 points of views for both of those and stuff. So you kind of get both sides, but I don't know. I just really love this one where it is like a girl who in high school really made bad choices, went away for some time, comes back, second chance romance, kind of tries to like turn her life around and stuff. And I just loved seeing, I don't know, people change and make good choices in their life and do the things and live better lives. The epilogue was so freaking cute. I just loved it so much. So I still only gave it 4 stars. But I did like this one, I think, a little bit better than the first. And I immediately, while still working today, jumped into the 3rd one, which is The Summer Girl, which is the third and final book in this series. And then when I go to the store and I see the cute covers, I'll be able to be like, oh, love those books. Instead of being like, oh, I want to read them so bad.
They are really cute covers. I always
They're
look at
so
those
cute.
too. Yeah.
But I will say, on top of all of this, that there is a side character in all of these books. That's name is Lauren, which obviously is my name, but they call her Wren. Just saying.
What?
It's just the name of the month. And so Wren is now Lauren, and Wren is also Rapunzel. So basically, it's just the coolest. So I'm a fan of the name Wren.
Con and Wren.
I know. I even had a thought, like, while reading these books at like a random time, I've never once thought to nickname myself Wren. Like, that's never crossed my mind. No one has ever called me that. Like, it's usually Lore or something like that, but never Wren. I'm here for it for Wren in the book.
Sure.
And I like that. It makes me feel like I can be Rapunzel. But that's about it. I don't want to be called Wren. You
don't really seem like a Wren.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm Lore.
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 I am Lore.
I am Lore.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our Patreon book club read from this month, which was The Ex Vows by Jessica Joyce. This was also 5 stars for me. I freaking loved this book. I loved everything about it. To me, it almost felt like a similar vibe to Happy Place by Emily Henry, which is one of my favorite books of all time, but it definitely like had its own really unique and like dynamic kind of feel. And I loved the characters in it. The longing, the angst was very well done. And that's like just something I love. Like I love that. And I love a good second chance romance when it's written well. So this was just like start to finish. Love this so much. And our book club meeting for this one last night was so much fun.
Fun. I loved it. I think it's because we love the book. Like there's been other book clubs where it's like, I only gave it 3 stars, and like book club is still super fun, but I think because we love the book and we could just gush over it for so much.
Yes.
Plus,
and we did.
Like, yeah, we totally did for like an hour and a half. It's fine. I also gave the book 5 stars. I just loved it. I don't know what it was, but there's like so many tropes that happen in the book too, because it's second chance romance. So like the first relationship, I guess there's like bad tropes that I don't like, miscommunication and like all the things, but like then we get to them coming back together and it like resolved it all, and it made the bad tropes that I hate, I didn't even worry about it. Like it wasn't like, it didn't feel like the main focus, but I appreciated that it was like, it felt like it was done well. The ones that I don't like, still done well in the book. It was just what I needed while doing Kingdom of Ash. It was just like a nice, on the side, really cute book. I wouldn't call it a fluff read because there were some heavier like topics and stuff still with,
that's true.
Some mental health stuff, and male character has like a panic attack. Like there's some moments like that, but it was still, I don't know, just a really good romance read, I guess is what I would want to say. But I just loved this, and what I was saying with bad girl reputation. I just feel like there's a lot of times in life you hear like people can't change, or, once that's just who they are forever. And that's something like personally I've always struggled with, like with myself, like can I change?
Yeah.
Like, that's something, all of that. And so I just love seeing when that happens, and when they do have the second chance. There's a lot of second chance romance. You don't really know what happened with their first relationship. You just know it didn't really work out. And here we are 10 years later in the same small town. Oops, we got snowed in. Now we're stuck together for forever or whatever. As where this one, you really get to explore their previous relationship, and they are exploring like what didn't go right for us and then fix it and stuff. And I just really loved that. So it was so good.
And I really loved that it was how they moved forward was centered around like their individual goals, and not just like, I'll follow you anywhere. Like it's going to be me moving to a new city with you all over again. Like it wasn't kind of a repeat. Mm-hmm. It was like, what do I actually want? And like, how does this fit into it if this is also something that I want? But it was just,
and they did it at different times. It wasn't like at the same time. So it was like, it really truly felt like they figured organic. It out for themselves. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really liked it.
I did too. Sweet. Highly recommend. And I knew nothing about it before you like recommended it for a potential book club pick. So good job.
Thank you. I had only read, I think this was only her second book, because I've read the other one by Jessica Joyce. I think.
What?
Let me look it up. I'm pretty sure.
Shout out to Jessica Joyce for being like amazing from the beginning. Authors can write 100,000 books, and that doesn't mean they're all winners. But when you find those couple that it's like, this is my very first book, and it's like a grand slam out the park. And I'm like,
yes.
All right, person.
Yeah. So I just looked it up. Her first book just came out last year, and I read it earlier this year. It's called You with a View. It has a really pretty cover. And it was the one where I was like gushing over their love story. And then I was like, also at the same time, their grandparents are there.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I knew that was a book, but I did not connect it was this author.
But I kind of described it weird, and I couldn't do it justice because I loved that book too. But that was her first book.
Grandparents, I forgot about that.
Like grandpa's with him on this whole trip. But I that's not a second chance romance. It's different. But I really loved You with a View. And that just came out in 2023. And then the Ex Vows was 2024. I think it just came out in the summer. So those are her only 2 books. And they were both 5 stars for me. Like, so good.
Yeah, so good.
I'm excited to read whatever she comes up with next.
Yeah. Good job, Jessica Joyce.
Yeah. Shout out to you.
Wherever you are. Well, we would love for you to join the Featuring Book Club and read with us and hang out with us at these live events, because we really do have so much fun. It's just a blast. We usually use the Fable app for spoiler-free chats and conversations throughout the month, and typically end the month with a live book club discussion. You should just totally join us. It's going to be a blast. In December, we are going to be reading How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn, and I am so excited for this book. I am so excited. Megan Quinn is going off with the videos and the reels and the TikToks or whatever she's just doing a great job.
Yeah.
Advertising this book, and I'm here for it with all the things that she's putting out there. So I just can't wait to read it and see what everyone else thinks. So join us while we read this in December. And yeah, it's just going to be a good book club.
I've never read a Megan Quinn book before. This will be my first one.
Really?
Yeah. I'm excited.
Connor, she has a freaking whole entire hockey romance series. Yes.
She does.
I read the first 2 or 3. I think I've read the first 3 of that series. And I think that was all that was out at the time. But she, any hockey romance series, they usually go through all the players at some point. So I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, they do.
Yes. Ooh, you should read it. It's really good.
Now. Yeah.
It's the first one. I even remember it. That's how good it was.
Wow.
Which is saying something. I know. The first one is literally off season. All the hockey players go to this random cabin in the woods they always go to during off season to avoid the press and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And there's this huge rainstorm, and this girl's car gets stuck in the rain, and she's stuck with the only place to go is this cabin full of hockey players.
Oh, man.
Doesn't that suck?
What a dilemma. What are you going to do?
Sleep with one of them. At least that's what she does.
The only logical next step.
But it was actually really good. So you should read that.
Okay. Well, adding that to my TBR. Speaking of which, that's it for November. So we were just going to touch quickly on our December hopefuls because I have way too many. Right now, I am currently rereading Crescent City 3 with John. He has officially started it. I'm on chapter 8. We're still fairly early, but those first few chapters of that book are super long. I forgot how long they were.
The first few chapters of all of Crescent City books are hard to get through.
Yeah.
You mean just the length of the...
Yes. They're 43-minute chapters.
Jeez. Yeah,
super long chapters. So I'm only on chapter 8, but I feel like I've been reading it forever.
Yeah.
But yes, we are I'm rereading that. John's reading it for the first time. So that's been really fun. I'm actually kind of struggling to make sure that I'm not spoiling anything because now that he knows about the end of Crescent City 2, Crescent City 3 was such a blur for me. I don't know it as well as I know all the other books. So I'm trying to, every time he asks me questions, I'm like, I don't know if you're supposed to know that yet or not. Anyway, so I'm rereading that right now. I am really excited to finish the War of Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent. That's the one that I was talking about earlier. So I'm currently reading Children of Fallen Gods. I'm excited about How My Neighbor Stole Christmas for book club. I really want to read Variation by Rebecca Yarros. I also just picked up Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, but that one might take me a while to get to. And then there's all these cute little holiday novellas from Amazon and all these other Christmas romance books on my TBR. Last year I did a whole marathon of Christmas romance books. this year I don't really have time, but I really want to read some. So I'm like trying to squeeze those in between finishing Kingdom of Ash, and then I want to reread Empyrean before Onyx Storm comes out. It's just a mess. My TBR is like, I'm like, oh, that's next on my TBR, but like really everything is next, and it's just a chaotic mess. So what about you?
I feel like I keep doing the ADHD thing where it's like, oh, that's the next thing on my list. And then it's like, man, I need another book, and I just have no books to read. And then I like can't pick one. And then I like just scroll through Hoopla or Libby or something. I'm like, oh, this random book that means nothing to me. Let me read that one. I end up loving them. Like I think all 5 stars, all 4s and 5s, but still it's just like they were all great, but it's not like those were the original top of my TBRs before, whatever. Yeah. I am about 50% done with Filthy Rich Vampire by Geneva Lee. It is on Kindle Unlimited. It said the word vampire, so I read it. That's about the extent of the research I had going into it. There is another book in the series, or it looks really similar. I don't know if it's a series, but it's called Filthy Rich Fae. And I don't know if they're connected, but I'm at least going to finish the vampire one. It's supposed to be like super, super, super spicy. It's getting there. 50% in. I'm
slowly.
Sure. I don't know. Yes. When I hear the word super, super, super spicy, I think like page 1. But like maybe my super, super, super spicy is different than other people's super, super, super spicy.
Mm-hmm. Like Court of the Vampire Queen.
Yeah, but there's other people who think ACOTAR, like specifically the first book, is extremely spicy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, they think that whole series is extremely spicy. And I'm just like, is it? I mean,
which I get if you're coming
a couple scenes, I guess. But like then I think of the other books I read. It's just like,
you know. Technically though, ACOTAR was like probably the spiciest books that I had read at the time when I first read them. I feel like it's kind of a gateway into the whole rabbit hole of everything. Yeah.
Anyways, that's just super random. Reading Filthy Rich Vampire. I don't know what I'm going to rate it right now. I've had, honestly, a really hard time getting through it, but I think it's because I am reading Kingdom of Ash right now. And I'm at the very end of Kingdom of Ash. Obviously, we're a couple weeks ahead of the actual podcast. So I think the podcast is like halfway through. We are in the last 2 episodes.
Last 2 sections.
So like we're at the very end of the book. And so I've been really struggling reading anything. I do my audiobooks when I'm at work or like in between stuff here and there, like doing the dishes or whatever. But it's like actually sitting down and reading, which is what I'm doing with Filthy Rich Vampire. And it's just like, I just can't. It's just not happening for me. My mind is just not. It's just not. But yeah, it really is. I do hope to, obviously, after we finish Kingdom of Ash, I want to reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame before Onyx Storm comes out, because I'm so excited for Onyx Storm. And I just love the Empyrean series.
Me too.
So
I
much.
miss it.
Like, I love Sarah J. Maas and like her books, and I love the fandom that is Sarah J. Maas and the people. But like, I think how much people love ACOTAR is how much I love Fourth Wing. Like I am a Fourth Wing girly through and through, and I would pick that series over the others. And I'm just so excited for that book to come out. And
yes, me too.
I don't know, have all the experience. I think it's also because like we went to the release party for Iron Flame together, so like there's just also good experiences. That was our first buddy read ever, was Fourth Wing.
So and the last time we saw each other.
I know. So it's like, yeah, the book is so good, and I'm going to talk about the book, but I think there's just like good memories surrounding the series itself. So yeah, I'm just so excited for it. And I get to see you hopefully again if we go to an Onyx Storm party. So that will be fun. Hopefully. I really want to read all those KU Christmas novellas that came out that we talked about last month.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one, it starts with Allie Hazelwood.
Yes.
That's all I remember. I don't know all the bajillion titles, but I think there's like 6 of them. I want to read all of those. That's my next plan after I finish the vampire book, because I want to get into Christmas. And then I think I need to change my reading goal. I'm 20 books behind.
Ooh.
At one point, I was like, okay, I'll do 10 November, 10 in December, or whatever it was, and I'll be fine. Or it was like in October or whatever. I'll do 10 this month, 10. And then it was like October, I read like 7. And then this month I read like 5. So it's just not happening. The end of the year has been crazy. So I'm going to read all the Kindle ones and see where I'm at. But I'm probably just going to change it so that I still get the little badge on GoodReads that said I did my goal. Because I'll feel bad if I don't get my little badge.
Need my little badge.
Maybe with like Thanksgiving break and Christmas break, I can like read just a ton. But my children are home with me too. So I don't actually know that will happen. In the past, kids. I know, right? In the past, breaks like that, it didn't matter. I would still read a ton, but they were so little. I feel like now I'm like also on the floor playing with them or trying to get them to clean something or fighting with my 5-year-old or whatever.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just really worried that after Kingdom of Ash, nothing else will seem interesting. I'm like secretly worried about it. Only because like that's what everyone says is going to happen to me.
So, but I didn't experience that only because of the Empyrean series, because I finished Kingdom of Ash right before Iron Flame came out. So I think this might be good timing that you're going to finish it right before Onyx Storm, because then you can just like hop right back over to Empyrean and get really excited about that. And that'll keep you going until the Onyx Storm hangover. And then I'm not sure what to do after that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the podcast will keep me going.
Yeah.
Through summer.
For whatever series we're doing next over there.
I wish it had to do with vampires. I'll tell you that. Just kidding. I'll just keep talking about vampires.
It's Twilight.
You still haven't read Twilight, Connor.
I know. I actually had never watched all of the movies either. I had only seen the first 2. How many are there?
4 movies.
4 movies. I had seen the first 2. I say that loosely because I feel like I didn't really pay that much attention.
There's 5
movies. Yeah, I think you're right.
They split the last one into 2.
Yeah, but John actually made me watch all 5 of the movies a couple of years ago.
Good job, John. What a good man.
He's never read the books, but he liked the movies and he made me watch them all.
I love that. Could we do a trade? Like I'll read Harry Potter because I've never read Harry Potter or something, and you can read Twilight. Or what childhood book did you like that I could read for you? Did you read as a child? I feel
like Harry Potter would make the most sense. I did. But it was like a series of unfortunate events, which is like 13 books. So.
Well, I'll do that. And then you can also do the Hunger Games.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that too. I read the first Hunger Games book, but I listened to it on audio while I was coming to see you on a trip.
Oh.
I think it was when Emma was like 6 months old.
Ago?
Yeah. I think it was that
5.
trip.
So like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, there's a new one of those coming out.
Right.
In like March or something. So this is a perfect time to jump on the Hunger Games bandwagon. So join me.
Okay.
I'll reread those with you. That would be fun.
I could record all my reactions for the people.
Yes.
I kind of love when people do that when they're like finally reading a book for the first time that everyone's already read. And it's like, yeah. Anyway.
There was that one guy, he did Hunger Games, but he also did the Twilight series. And I watched every single one of his Twilight videos. I was invested. But there's a lot more Twilights. There's 4 Twilight books of the original ones. And then there's a novella. And then there's his POV of the first book. And then a gender swap book of the first book.
Oh, the original author wrote? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Fun.
So you would have to read all of them.
Required.
I just
Wasn't there there was one of those for 50 Shades of Grey too, right? There was a POV swap book. Is it called? I think it was just called Grey. Yeah.
Grey, which I also read
that one. Oh. I read the series.
50 Shades of Grey was my first probably like spice book.
Oh, yeah. I guess I did read that before I read ACOTAR.
Smut book, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
And so at the time, it was like I'm reading this. So I reread that series probably like 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
Just because of that. And now it's like, I love it just as much. And I like randomly was talking to my sister about it the other, like maybe a month ago, and rewatched all of them in a week. All the movies.
I do rewatch the movies from time to time. I own the movies.
And the 50 Shades of Grey started as a Twilight fanfic, Connor.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say that.
So you were going to love it. You're going to love it.
Because I didn't know that for a long time. And I was always like, this movie feels so similar to Twilight to me. Like, just the vibe of the movie is so similar. And then I think I finally said it to you or somebody who was like, actually...
It actually is. Yeah, they're even in Seattle and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Just saying.
Well,
you would like it.
I actually did, though. I was kind of proud because I was going through our notes for this recording and I was looking at my November hopefuls from last month, and I actually read a couple of them. Even though
good job.
I know I didn't read very many books this month, but I actually read some of the ones that I was planning to the month before. And I feel like that's a pretty strong win for my ADHD brain. So
I'm so happy for you. I didn't list anything last month because I was too afraid to put them on the list and then let myself down.
I just listed a bunch and then I was excited that I actually read like 2 of them.
It's fine.
So maybe it'll happen again this month. We're manifesting. Yeah. That's what the hopefuls are about.
Yes. It's hopeful. It doesn't mean it's happening. Hopeful. Just hopeful.
Yeah. It's not even really a plan. It's just like, if it happens, it'll be great.
I'm dead. It's too late at night for this.
Yes. Anyway, that's all from us today for our November reads. If you'd like to follow along on our reading journeys throughout the month, you can follow us on GoodReads and StoryGraph from our links page or the description box below. We're also much more active on Instagram and TikTok at Between Pages of Friends if you're not following us there yet. Again, you can shop our cute new merch on our website linked below. We just added so much new stuff and it's so cute and fun.
Yes. Our monthly reading wrap-ups are one of our favorite things we get to do together, and we will continue to post them here on YouTube each month. And our podcast is posted weekly wherever you stream podcasts or here on YouTube. Thank you so much for all of your support. And as always, thank you for reading with us.
And before we leave, we're going to do a quick shout out to all of our Patreon members, aka the best people in the world.
Shout out, shout out, shout out, shout out. Ah! I'm yelling your name. You just can't tell.
And you, and you, and you. You're gonna love me.
And you joined Patreon, and you joined Patreon. You joined Patreon. They are seriously the best, though. And like, our Discord is the best, and book club is the best.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite thing we've done in all of this crazy Between Pages and Friends stuff.
Same.
Yes, ever.
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 The happiest day of my life.
April 2nd, 2020. Is that when it was? April 2nd? I think it was.
I think so.
2024.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye guys.
Get out of here, you crazy kids.
Go. What are you still doing here?